voter registration weekend is serving as an opportunity for new parties who have not contested national and provincial elections to educate citizens on who they are. Among these are Musi Maimani's Build One South Africa, Herman Mashaba's Action SA, and Colleen Makhubele's South African Rainbow Alliance. One of these parties is in Lenasia South, where we find our reporter, Juniour Khumalo. Good afternoon, Juniour. How has this voter registration drive helped these newer parties to introduce themselves to South Africans?
A very good afternoon to you, Clement. Indeed, this voter registration period has served as an opportunity for parties that have not contested, in particular in the national and provincial elections, to just introduce themselves to South Africans. We know that parties such as Action SA have taken part in the local government elections in 2021 and performed at a very high level that no one expected of them. But we have parties such as BOSA. We saw the leader, Musi Maimane, in Pretoria this morning, and he was just campaigning there. We know that there's a newer party that was formed, that was launched actually last week by Colleen Makhubele, the former speaker of Johannesburg. The party is called the South African Rainbow Alliance. So we do have with us here some of the members of the South African Rainbow Alliance who have been outside this Lenasia voting station for the past 2 days. Joining us now is Amogelang Ramotsila. She is one of the young ladies who have been here talking to South Africans. Thank you for joining us. What have you been telling South Africans about this new party? Because a lot of people don't know about this new party.
Basically, we've been telling them that SARA's main objective is to empower the youth, and that's just basically it. Obviously, it's work in progress. However, its main objective is just to empower the youth, females especially, but the youth in general has been.
Indeed, you speak about empowering females. The party leader herself, Colleen Makhubele, is a woman, and not a lot of parties are led by women.
By women, yes, which is something that makes the party stand out, and a lot of people find it intriguing and fascinating, the fact that, it's the first political party to be led by a woman, and, we're just waiting to see what it is that she has to offer.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking to us, Amogelang. That is a young lady, Amogelang, who is a part of the newly formed SARA, and she's just telling us that she is inspired herself by the fact that the leader of the party, Colleen Makhubele, is a woman who has done a lot. She is, among other things, been the speaker of the city of Johannesburg, Clement.
Right, Juniour Khumalo, thank you. Live to us from Lenasia in Gauteng. Let's take you now to Secunda in Mpumalanga, where our reporter Moili Masilela is tracking things on day 2 of the registration weekend. Good afternoon, Moili. How are things going there today?
Clement, I must say that the voting or the registration process for voting has been going smooth so far. We've visited quite a number of voting stations. I think this is the 4th one. But what we have seen is that people are starting to come through this afternoon, even though it's very hot. In fact, some have been saying that we might expect more people later in the day when it's starting to cool off. But there's both young and old people coming through to check their names if they are still appearing on the voters' roll, and also more young people who will be actually voting for the first time next year. But let me speak to some of those who have just visited the voting station to register and check their names on the voters' roll. Let me speak to Douglas Zita. He will be voting for the 4th time in national elections. If you can tell us, what has made you to decide to come here to check your name on the voters' roll, even though we know that there's been quite a number of challenges that the country is faced with?
As I want to say, I just encourage our nation and our people to just vote and all these things, because we're just facing a lot of challenges in this country of ours and all these things, but we can see the changement and all these things. So then I encourage the young people and all these things to come and register for voting, and then voting is important, so then we can say something, because vote is it's your priority to say something in this country. So then I said, as we are a nation, let's come up, all of us, and come and vote for our next generation and stuff. And so then we can see how far we're going and all these things. No matter we can see there's lack of them, then we can't say it's because we know in South Africa there's a lot of things, challenges we're facing and all these things, but we must tolerate for all those things and all these things. That's all I can say. Thank you very much.
All right, Mama, let me bring in Lady Ambata. She's also a resident of Secunda here. Mama, you've decided to come here. What has made you to decide to be part of those South Africans who will be voting next year?
Ngijabula kakhulu ukuthi ngiphinde ngizovota futhi ngonyaka ozayo. Ngibe iphathi South Africa. Eyintweni eziningi. Kodwa kukhona okunye esikhala ngako. Siyavota. Sivote amakhansela wethu awasizi nganex. Itrati zethu la eThamawuzini soloku ngafika la eThamawuzini ngiyabona 2004 toti manje istrata sinasikunteri njengoba imvulina inhlabathi yaphuma kubhuka amashela wakudala asikwazi imoto sihamba kabuhlungu kabi asinalo uncedo even namanje mina ngilazi ikhansela lethu ukuthi ubani ukuthi liphike libize nini meeting angilazi enenyaya vele nasema meetingini makuvota ngiyeza ngizovota igama lami khona la namanje bengithi ngizovota vele manje ngibuye esontweni ngikhohle ipass ngizaphinde ngibuye maselipholile.
All right, Mama Skatsako. So, Clement, those are some of the views from community members. The resident that we have just spoken to, she's highlighting that there's quite a number of challenges. They are facing the issue of roads. They are not in a proper state. And also saying that even though they do have a councillor, but she has never seen that councillor in the community. So those are some of the issues that people who are coming through to register to vote are raising here in Secunda, Clement.
Moili Masilela, thank you. Live to us from Mpumalanga. Now, during this voter registration weekend, potential voters are encouraged to update their particulars or register for the 2024 general elections. But a sobering reality remains for a marginalized community, the homeless. The homeless often find themselves excluded from this process due to not possessing any identity documents. Nasipi Same joins us now live for more. Nasipi, good afternoon to you. From what you've seen yesterday and today, how are the homeless people there interacting with the IEC? Do they have the particulars? Are they interested to register to vote? What have you seen?
Well, Clement, obviously in a democracy, every voice and every vote matters. And as you put it, what happens to, the homeless people? Is it a case of their voice is voiceless? But having engaged with the homeless community or people in the homeless community last week, leading up to today, which is voter registration weekend, many of them indicating their concerns when it comes to the fact that others do not possess identity documents. Others are saying that they've been stolen while living in the streets. However, they do also have an opportunity to go to Home Affairs and have, or rather, to apply for temporary identity documents. However, they then, have their backs against the wall whether or not they'll be spending over 100 Rand to have an identity document replaced, or will they use that 100 Rand or 140 Rand towards something that will obviously be sustaining them. But to talk to us more perhaps about the challenges that the homeless community are facing, particularly when it comes to registration during this weekend and also voting, I'm joined by Peter Solomon, the director of the Hope Exchange. Sir, thank you so much for your time. But, having engaged with the homeless community and the fact that many of them indicating that they would love to participate in the upcoming elections, what do you make out of, some of the conversations that you have with them?
I think the biggest issue is having an ID document. So the Hope Exchange exists to help the homeless, and we do that in three main areas. One is to improve the lives of those living on the street, two is to support human development, and three, ultimately, all of our efforts are aimed at the third objective, which is reintegration and reunification. Reintegration into society and reunification with family or a family unit. So along that way on those many steps and the journeys and of the services that we do offer is support in getting ID documents. Because without an ID document you cannot register to vote. So that is one area where we are involved relative to voting and the upcoming elections. Another area is to make our clients aware of the opportunity to register and opportunity to vote. We have as an organisation attempted to have our venue become a voting registration centre for our homeless clients because they are familiar with it, they're comfortable because we have streams of homeless people visiting our premises each day. But it wasn't possible because the law prescribes that there can only be one voting station or registration centre per district, and there already is one, which is the Civic Centre in Cape Town.
And how important was it, Peter, this decision that you took in trying to make the Hope Exchange a voting centre, or even a place where the homeless community can come and get assisted when it comes to registering to vote?
It was a really important opportunity for us to also show the rest of society that homeless people count. Homeless people have a voice. Homeless people are citizens of South Africa as anyone else is, and should not be impeded from exercising their constitutional right to vote. So that was the importance behind that, of us considering this opportunity and exploring ways in which we could support our homeless clients in that way.
Peter, we probably have about 200,000, if I'm correct, homeless people throughout the country, and these were numbers prior COVID, and I'd like to assume that those numbers have increased. How many homeless people do we have, perhaps in the city centre, or rather in the city of Cape Town? And would you say that they're being left behind when it comes to this very important electoral process of registering to vote and even next year voting?
Yes, you're correct. There are about 200,000 homeless people across the country. The most recent research indicates that there are more than 14,000 in the Cape Town metropole. And with us being in the CBD, there are about 1,000 people within the CBD where we operate. So that number is significant. It is really important that everybody knows that the homeless get left behind because they are often unseen, they are marginalized, and this is our effort to try and allow them to exercise their voice as well.
Last week, I think Thursday, if not Wednesday, having spoken to a few people that are part of the homeless community, they indicated that they were not even aware that this weekend is actually a voter registration weekend, and saying that as much as they feel that they are invisible, they would love for political parties, including government, to not only pay note to them, but to inform them about, instances like this weekend. Would you say that more needs to be done in reaching out to the various homeless communities, not only in Cape Town, but throughout the country?
Yes, indeed. You've taken the words from my mouth. I think much more can be done to increase the awareness around this time and to make sure that every sector of society is included.
Thank you so much, Peter Solomon there, the director of the Hope Exchange here in the CBD, indicating that every voice matters when it comes to voter registration, including the upcoming general elections of 2024. And hopefully government will be making that all-important decision, or rather reaching out to the various homeless communities, not only in Cape Town, but throughout the country, in ensuring that many of them have their various identity documents to allow them to register to vote, for them to participate in the 2024 general elections.
Nasipi Same, thank you. Still to come, new kid on the block, Rise Mzansi, will be speaking to us about the registration weekend and the upcoming elections.